Hi, this is Mike Koenigs.
And Pam Hendrickson.
And this is the 5-step system for making and marketing products and services. So you ready to rock and roll, Pam?
I am ready to rock and roll.
Okay, well, what we're going to talk about today with you is we're going to give you the simple 5-step system. And I'll show you this on the screen right now. Step number 1 is schedule. Step number 2 is target. Then there's content number 3, product, and distribute. And we'll go through these step by step and describe them to you. But let's begin, Pam, with schedule.
We will. And how this all came about, and there's an infographic mind map that comes with this that goes into more detail. So Mike and I are going to give you an overview, and then the detail you can print out, and it's a nice little graphic for you. So how this all came about is in looking at our businesses and working with customers who are just experiencing tremendous overwhelm and tremendous stress on their businesses. Where do I go? What do I do? And how does all this fit together? What's happened is it's created such a short-term thought process. And there's a time where that short-term go in and strike is really valuable, but there's a time when you've got to step back and look at the big picture of your business, because it's that, I have that mantra, more time in the planning is less in the execution. When you understand what's happening from the big picture, then all those other little things make so much more sense. So that's why we came up with the 5-step system.
And ultimately what this is going to help you do is just get a lot more done in a shorter period of time on purpose. It's going to strengthen and build your brand, improve and increase your traffic, your visibility, and also help you build towards something that has brand equity. And when we say brand equity, what that means is something that you can sell someday, something that you think of as a bank account versus just another thing you can sell, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
So let's go through the 5 steps.
Okay.
So step number 1 has to do with scheduling your business. And the best way to think about this, I forget where I first read it, but I read it as it relates to content marketing, but it relates to your business as a whole, which is that if you look at the calendar for your business for 3 months, 6 months, or a year, what are the heavy items, the heavy lifters, like the 2 or 3 big promotions you're planning to do, the 3 live events that you're planning to do, and you put those in the calendar, and then everything else around it are all the lightweights, the things that you're doing that are supporting those few, product promotions, whatever they are, they're supporting the bigger things. And so what I would say is, I know something that's transformed our business this year is we have a content calendar and we have a promotional calendar, and they're overlaid. So we know not only what promotion's going on, but we know Friday is a Facebook quote. We know Tuesday is the day we highlight a customer on our Facebook page. So we have these calendars that makes it so easy to leverage what we're doing, and it gives us a consistent footprint in front of the customer. So I think the takeaway is creating a schedule and a calendar for your business and thinking about it that way.
Right, and it takes an enormous amount of stress off your plate as well.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so let's move on to number 2, okay, and that is target. All right, and there are a couple elements or steps to this. So the first of which is who's your who, and that really historically has been your avatar or your ideal customer, and then what problems they're facing. And I know you've got a 5-step process for getting them through how to really define the target in more detail, Pam.
I know, and I know it floors you and I whenever we get together and work with customers. Just, every single time we start with this piece about who is your ideal customer, and yet so few people really understand it.
Virtually everyone who's failing doesn't know who the hell they're selling to.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So 5 steps to go through that. Number 1 is just start with who's your industry and market. Big picture. Again, we're going to go big picture and then break it down. And we have a couple things on the mind map infographic here, but just to understand who your industry or market is and who's the customer who gravitates toward that industry, like what's hot in the industry, what's going on in that industry. From there, you can go to the next thing, which is you'll have your own hypothesis about who your ideal customer is within that universe or within that market of people. And that hypothesis might be based on a lot of data, and you might have a lot of information. It might be a really good hypothesis. Or if you're starting out, you might just have a feeling about, hey, this is who I think I can help the most. But either way, you've got to sit down and go through and define what that person looks like in your vision. So step 3 is then research to confirm. I'll let you talk about surveys in a minute, because I know you love the power of surveys. We both do. But just once you have it, you know who the market is, you have your own hypothesis, then you've got to do a little bit of research to confirm that's really a hit.
Okay, and in my experience, dealing with surveys is, some of the best surveys I've ever done are when I'm asking for assistance. So one that pops in mind right now is when I did one called Help Me Name My New Book, and I asked people to tell me what kinds of things they wanted to learn, what titles, I gave them some softballs at first, which are, what's the title that appeals to you most, what's the subtitle that appeals to you most, and then I asked them what kind of bonuses they'd like to receive, which are really just pain points, and it allowed me to statistically prioritize what people needed. In this case, everyone's going to say, I need more traffic, I need more leads, I don't have enough time, it needs to be easy, or whatever it is, but all those things come out, and I have a lot of space for open-ended questions, which historically, Jeannie, for example, our survey expert, she doesn't like open-ended questions for certain kinds of
data.
surveys.
And we're talking about Jeannie Hurlbert, of
Yes.
course, my survey expert. But for data, they're difficult. But in this case, when you're really trying to get underneath your market, there's a purpose.
And they're rapport builders as well, because again, you're framing this as though I want advice. And ultimately, you gather enough information to literally build and create your products, and also all the content that you need to attract them and retain them. And a lot of people are afraid, in my experience, they say, well, I don't have enough of a big enough list to get survey data. This is the thing that I've learned. Now, a few years ago, when I ran my very first survey, and this is back when SurveyMonkey just started, and I'm actually going to go back to 2003 or 2004, believe it or not. I had a brand new business with no list. And what I did is in the autoresponder that people would sign up to get some free information about their products. They'd fill in the blank to get some sort of a freebie giveaway. And from there, the initial autoresponder would say, I'd like to give you a free training video if you take the survey. Well, that way, at the time, probably 25% of all the people who opted in started giving me their survey results. Well, that survey ran for 8 years until I sold that business, and I still to this day have all of the survey data from all those people, and it's in the thousands of people. In other words, it's statistically relevant. So the other thing that I'll do is if I've got a survey that I might have laying around, hell, I'll post it on Twitter every couple of weeks. Okay?
Right.
Every single time it gets a few more people who are not only providing details about who they are, what they want, but it's also asking them explicit, specific information about where they live and even their address as well.
So you can test your hypothesis, and I love that because I think people come to us and they say, well, I can't survey because I don't have a list. But what you're saying is use the survey to help create the list.
As soon as someone registers for anything, ask them to take a survey to get more free stuff. Okay.
Right, perfect.
So,
and then from there, as you start to get to know who your customer is, then you can go from that singular avatar to having a couple of avatars, or what would be called in a more corporate environment, customer segments.
That's right.
And so having 3, 4, 5 customer segments for your business makes sense, but you get at them by understanding the industry, the individual, testing that hypothesis, and you know what, the other way to test them is just get in front of them. So do surveys, but go to events, go to online events, go to the forums where they're participating, go to live seminars and conferences, and just talk to them. And that's probably the best market homework you could possibly do.
I would agree. Another really important thing, this goes back to the newbie mind versus the experienced mind. What you get good at after a little while is not paying attention. You, of course, are going to engage with the individual, but pay attention to the symbol or the representation, or what where the term avatar really stems from is an archetype.
Right.
Okay? So in our world, we know that we have what we call the enhancer. Okay, those are people who have an existing business, they want to grow it, they want to enhance what they're already doing and make more and do less. Then we have the reinventor, someone who's frustrated. They literally want to reinvent or recreate themselves. And then we have the creator, or what historically would be called the opportunity seeker, someone who wants to start from scratch and do something brand new, a really different business. So you can walk into an environment, and if you're going to environments where there are people like your existing customers, you start seeing the representative characters.
And they could be called customer. Those are 3 customer segments.
That's
and then
exactly
the beauty is then you can start communicating differently with and targeting your communications with those customer segments differently. So very important.
Okay, and then finally,
We have, so what that leads into, this is all about kind of the big step here, which is target. So once you have your target and you know who that market is, which is an ongoing journey, you're not going to do this once and be done. You're always discovering about your target market. But from there, as we move into the next piece, then you can brainstorm your core messaging for each of your core avatars or market segments. What are 1 or 2 or 3 messages, their big problem and the big solution that they're looking for? If you know who your top 3 customer avatars or segments are, and you know their big problem and the big solution they're looking for to solve it, then it's done, it's over. So that leads us into the next big step.
Yep, and I will add one quick
Yes.
thing, which is if you've been surveying people, brainstorming what the top 3 messages are already done for you because they've told you what their challenges
That's right.
are. All you got to do is make a piece of content that solves or answers that problem.
And that leads you into content. And I really think, you and I talk about it, there's no magic bullet out there for list building and lead generation and all that. But if there were one that's working better than just about anything right now, it is content. And it's content that connects.
Right.
Content that really bridges the gap between really understanding who that core customer is and your marketing messages and your products and services. So being smart about your content, having a schedule, instead of trying to attack 17 different content channels that no one can fulfill, pick 5. And that's if you start studying content marketing. It's the biggest mistake people make is they try to do everything instead of saying, I'm going to do 3 things. I'm going to focus on a blog, I'm going to focus on Facebook or maybe LinkedIn if it's a B2B, I'm going to do a podcast, and I'm going to write a book.
Yep.
And focus on those things and do them well. And then have a schedule for all the things that fill in between it.
Right. So just diving in a little bit deeper, what that means is if you're going to have the schedule, maybe if you know what all the challenges are that your existing customer base has, month 1 might be solving problem 1. Month 2 might be, so you're really entering into the conversation, dealing with the challenges they already have, and what you're doing is really entering into this ongoing conversation. It's a dialogue that's multi-part, and once that content's created, it's going to be out there working for you forever. And when we get into distribution, the last point that we're going to get into is going to be the how side of this on how to distribute most effectively.
Perfect.
All right. So let's talk about product.
So your content, so you go where this goes. You got to have a planner schedule. That planner schedule leads into that target core customer and breaking that customer down into those 3 segments that make sense, breaking that into content that connects with them. And that's what leads you into your product messaging, your products and services that really connect. And the way that we like to think about products is one product doesn't make a business. So, and products have life cycles. So even if you have one product, that product, no matter what you do to extend the life cycle, it's going to have a life cycle. So thinking about your business in terms of product suites is so powerful. And you can do it 2 different ways. You can say we're going to take one core thing and we're going to have multiple products that go deeper and deeper and deeper into that one core thing. So if we were to say product creation, we would have, and you and I do, products and services that can go really deep into that one area.
Yep.
The other way to think about a product suite is you can have a core thing, product creation, and you can have products or services that are complementary to it and build out your product suite that way.
Yep.
So, but however you do it, you want to think about, you've got those 3 customer segments. What are the 3 product suite channels or three ways you're going to attack the products to give them solutions, and think about it in terms of a suite. And then the last thing I want to say about that, and this is all in the PDF, is that there's a difference between a product funnel or product suite and a marketing funnel. You need both. The marketing funnel is what you do to attract and connect with that ideal customer, engage them, convert them into a customer, into a buyer, and then turn them into advocates long term. That is a marketing funnel. Your product funnel, your product suite, are what are the product solutions you're offering at each of these stages that match up and that pull people along that product funnel.
Right. So if we're using our example, our combined, so I'm going to kind of combine all of our businesses, we know that most people have a problem with getting traffic and understanding how to make video and how to make content. The next challenge that they have is, how am I going to build my brand? Okay, how am I going to be known as the authority or the expert in my space? The third one is, how do I turn my ideas into products so I can sell that stuff, right? The next one is, how do I increase what I charge, and how do I further elevate who I am, what I do, and what I do for other people? And then the 5th one is typically, where do I go from there? How do I expand my skills and my knowledge? So the way we've got our product suite essentially integrated is we've got multicast marketing for creating content and videos and audios. We've got author expert marketing machines for doing the segmentation. We've got make, market, launch it, how to turn your ideas and knowledge into products. The fourth one is the Top Gun Consulting Toolkit. It's how do I further engage my expertise and sell that. And then the fifth one is certification.
Right.
We've got make, market, launch it certification because people say, I want to learn from the master. I want to learn from Pam Hendrickson. I want to understand how I can maybe turn this into a business in addition to doing it for myself. So the point of this is your customers will tell you what else they want and how to grow this and where to go next. And that's what's important is once you get one product under your belt, the rest of them follow
They
pretty
follow,
much automatically.
but you've got to think about it in terms of a suite. That's
Very
right.
nice.
That's right.
Okay, so the last point on this is distribution. And ultimately what you want to do is take all these great content elements. You're going to have your schedule, but you want to get it out to as many people as possible. And the scheme or the format that we've been using for a little while, if we bring up the slide right now, is what we call multicasting. So it's pretty easy to imagine that Pam and I could actually be broadcasting this message live right now and doing a live cast. So that would mean you and I are just interviewing. We could have pressed the button, scheduled this, maybe had a bunch of people come and attend this live show. And we can break this down as we're going to be doing with this content and putting it into a podcast so it can be delivered to virtually any mobile phone or iPad or device. We could transcribe this and make it into a small book or into a PDF. Okay, we're going to have an infographic. It wouldn't be that much harder. We can mobile cast it so it can be viewed and seen on any mobile device. And then finally social cast, meaning we want to send this out to as many different social sites as possible, which we're going to do. Facebook, Twitter, probably do a Pinterest entry. Where else are we going to send it to, Pam?
Well, we'll probably put this video on a blog as well. So there's another place that this will show up. So again, it's all core message distributed in different places that make sense against what it is you're doing as a business. And some of them are feathers that just get people involved. And gosh, I want to know more about that. Others are the blog with the PDF, which is a more robust. Okay, I can really dive in and understand this content at a deeper level.
Yep. So if we take that, ultimately what this means is you're able to go out and reach out to the entire online universe. And that's what's so important is the process of driving and building your business with customized content that is involving and engaging with your audience is just a natural conversation that you're entering in, solving problems, building rapport, creating and increasing trust and the authority and expertise that you already have. Again, what's great about this is once you create even 10, 20, 30 nuggets of information, this is ongoing market that when it's spread, when it's social cast all over the net, it's going to continue to drive people into your funnel, introduce them to you and your products and services, and give them a natural place to go.
And that's how you become the trusted authority in any niche or market, is by understanding the system that you want to put people through and what your core is, who your customer is, and then having a schedule that distributes that content and that message out into your specific product funnels that provide awesome solutions for customers who fit that segment.
It's so powerful. So one more time, the steps are, we're going to begin with scheduling, focusing on your target, that's your target audience, your customers. It's going to be creating content, which again, people are going to tell you what they want when you're surveying them, when you're engaged with them. It's understanding and having a product, and ideally a product suite. And also, again, these funnels, different points of entry for giving away your free content to educate and build that rapport and relationship. And then finally, being able to multicast your content, distribute it out to the entire connected universe.
Awesome. And the PDF will walk you through some examples of those 5 steps so you can see it in action. But getting smart, getting strategic, doing more with less is the theme of this. And being more effective and connecting with the customers who you're excited to connect with, who you can really help the most, who are a great fit for your business.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, Pam. Great job. And we'll see you in the next video very soon.